Yo! Video games.
What up, dudes? Matt here from YoVideogames, and I think it's about high time we have a little real talk about Xenoblade 2. It's been kind of a long time since I've done one of these videos, but I think and hopefully, hope to pray that we have a lot more of these going forward. Not just about this game, but just discussion videos in general. So, kind of want to just talk everything about Xenoblade 2. It had its direct recently. It's going to be getting a lot of coverage leading up to its release, and I guess basically the thing I want to just really start with first on Xenoblade 2 is really the character designs. And I'm in a very odd junction here because there's basically two camps for this game, and that is the camp that fucking hates the character designs, and then there's the camp that kind of digs the super anime look to it. And the problem is that people who are in the sort of against side of it cannot shut up about it, and I've kind of want to say, like, I'm a little annoyed at this point right now, just with the constant discussion about how people don't like the way the characters look, or in particular how skanky the chicks look. And I agree. Here's the crazy thing: is I do agree that the character designs are kind of ass. I do agree that the chicks are all kind of skanky, but at the other end of this, I'm kind of way over it because the game was announced in January. Here we are in November with about to come upon its December release, and nothing's changed from it. Like, it's obviously the same game they announced back then, and it looks the same, just actually a little bit better graphically on a technical aspect. But I don't understand, like, the constant bitching about, hey, I don't like, you know, how the characters are so slutty looking or so skanky looking that it drives you away. Well, if it drove you away 11 months ago, really, why are we still talking about it now? It's to me, it just feels like this sort of eternally beaten dead horse. And really, I kind of feel like, as a fan of video games from a long time, like, this doesn't get in the way for me like it seemingly has been getting in the way for a lot of other people. And for me, I just would say, like, look, as a Nintendo fan in general, I'm used to kind of shitty character designs. Like, I survived the entire Rare era, and I feel like I'm missing out, or I feel like people would be missing out on really great games if you based your purchase solely on how the game looked. Now, what was that shade I just threw at Rare all about? Well, I'm just saying that some of the Donkey Kong and Banjo-Kazooie and some of their Jet Force Gemini, the characters never really looked good. In fact, they look kind of freaky most of the time, or they just look kind of dumb. Endearingly so, yes, but if anyone but Rare was putting out a game called Banjo-Kazooie that was just a generic 3D platformer, no one would have given it the time of day. It would have turned into Ty the Tasmanian Tiger or Vex. And if you're fans of those games, look, I'm sorry, but the point I'm making here is that Banjo is a beloved game, not because of the design of Banjo and Kazooie. They're fine for what they are, but they're not great. Okay, they're just there. You know, and of course it becomes meme-worthy as time goes on, and people, you know, fall in love with Lanky Kong, and somehow Lanky Kong's just great fucking character. And the same with Waluigi, who's just a dumb-looking, you know, anti-Luigi design, but he's endearing after a while. Now, I'm not saying in Xenoblade 2 characters will become endearing. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. The game's not even out yet, for God's sake. But really, my point I'm getting at here is that I would never let shitty character designs steer me away from a game. And even if you like the character designs, that's cool too. Like, a lot of people love Wind Waker's designs, and personally, I fucking hate the way the Toon Link, Toon Zelda looks. I despise them. They look like they belong on Nick Jr. or Disney Jr. or something like that, and I find them really lazy looking. I don't like them. But you know what? I still bought Wind Waker. I still played Wind Waker. I still enjoyed all the good aspects that are in Wind Waker, even if I personally didn't like the way the game looked, character design-wise. But one thing I think we can say, I think with relative certainty, especially after the Direct, is that the rest of the graphics are actually pretty good. I like that this game's more colorful. It's I don't know, it's hard to, I mean, obviously they've got the one level they've showed off where it's sort of inside the belly of one of the Titans, where it's basically like a glowy purple forest, and it looks really good. I really like the environments of the game. I'm really happy with that. We did recently learn from the director that it's not quite as massive as Xenoblade X, which is fine because, one, the environments we have seen look plenty big, and two, yeah, I mean, if you take away the fast run or the mechs, you take that away from Xenoblade X and you run at a normal pace, and yeah, it's almost too goddamn big to get around in that game without using fast travel. So I'm not too concerned about that. They are saying it's more densely packed, more intricately packed world, so that's cool. I'm all for that. This time we'll actually have towns and shit like that to explore, besides just New LA. So, all around pleased with that. But yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is this. Takahashi's always been a big otaku. And he always goes out and he gets anime artists and anime composers to do anime shit for his anime-ass games. Now, being that as it is, he has this whole rare blade system with Xenoblade 2, and what does he do? He goes out and gets all these different popular anime and manga character artists, and what do? They draw PV-looking girls, because that's what they fucking do in Japan right now. Now, I'm not saying that's every single artist, but, you know, let's be real here, people. Many of these big famous artists, and there's a lot that he's pulling from, they draw PV girl designs which are not out of the norm for them. And the other thing I kind of want to bring up just real briefly here is when people say, yeah, well, why'd they hire a hentai artist to do that? Almost every fucking video game, Japanese RPG that you've probably played that has a character designer that is freelance or doesn't currently or didn't currently work specifically for a game company has drawn hentai. Every single one of them. They've drawn nudie pics. They've done it many times. Just about everyone you've ever probably liked has drawn some skeevy art somewhere before. It's really not new, and it's really not that big a deal. This is a very niche JRPG. It's not going to be making any sort of statement on equality, and it's not obviously going to reach a massive audience anyway. So, really, the thing is if say, like, oh, I'm not going to buy this game because I don't want to support such, like, pervy designs, well, you're not going to send Nintendo any message about it other than you don't want them to publish or release Japanese RPGs. They're not going to get that intricate takeaway that Pyrus tits are too big. You need to tone them down and put some clothes on her. They're just going to be like, well, people don't like this weird anime shit, so we're not gonna fund it. We're not gonna publish it. We're not gonna localize it. Mostly on that localizing part, because Nintendo will probably still make games for Japan that have this, you know, anime-ass, you know, cheesecake still in it. But they'll just get the idea that, well, people don't like these games in America, so we're just not going to bother publishing and localizing them. So, really, you're just kind of fucking everyone, including yourself, out of getting these games if you're just going to base it solely on the character designs. And to bring up an obviously comparison to another big game that just came out this year and the sort of eternal battle Max has been fighting, is that, yes, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite looks like trash. The character designs are bad. They only fixed Chun-Li before launch, and most of them still look like shit, but you know what? The game is a ton of fun to play. And basically, from what I've seen, from what I'm looking at in the Direct, is the game looks fun to play. I'm just going to briefly touch on the battle system. In Xenoblade, one of the big keys of battle system is to do special moves that have cooldowns that do status effects. The status effects usually go in the order of break, to break the enemy's concentration, then topple to knock them down, and then you do a daze move to basically make them dizzy, like in a fighting game. So yeah, you do a move, one character does a move to break, one character does a move to topple, and third character does a move to daze. Or maybe you can do it with the singular, whatever. So in this game, it's the same deal, only they changed it up. Now it's break, topple, and then you do a launcher, which spins the enemy up in the air, and then you finish with a slam move. I like it. It's cool. It's very flashy. It sounds all very fighty game-like, but it's, I mean, obviously it's not. It's like still got that weird quasi real-time MMO style look to it. Other than that, I don't really need to get into the battle system. There is so many things out there to get into the battle system if you want to learn the battle system. If you don't know the battle system, watch a Direct, watch any of the Nintendo Live streams of the game. They will go over the battle system ad nauseum. For myself, who's been playing all the Xeno games, I'm very familiar with it. I'm not going to talk any more about it. What I will talk about, though, is that I'm still very much looking forward to the soundtrack. Got a little bit of clarification today that Yasunori Mitsuda obviously did the main theme, he does event themes, and he did the ending song. We don't know how much that encompasses, but we do know that the game has 120 separate music tracks, which that's a fucking lot of music. And it's probably all going to sound good, because besides him, it's most of the Xenoblade 1 sound team minus Yoko Shimomura. So very exciting about that. He says that his event themes are going to have a very Xenogears style, which is frankly fucking awesome because that was the best thing about Xenogears. So happy to see that. Honestly, like, the only like really negative I honestly have for this game, besides like, yes, I totally agree the character design is trash, but I'm over it, is that it doesn't quite appear that you can change the outfits in your characters. From what I've seen, from what I can tell, it really doesn't look like you can change the appearance of your characters like you could in the past 2 Xenoblade games, which is a huge downside. The reason for this is probably has a lot to do with the fact that they're using a guest artist. Now, in Japan, I've seen this, and it's shown in other interviews. They're basically, a lot of times, character designers really don't like it when there's customizable clothing options in the game, because it kind of feels like, why did you hire me to draw this character design if you're just going to constantly redraw them and make them look different? It's sort of a pride ego thing. It's sort of a respect thing for some people, whatever. I understand. Like, for instance, back when the last story came out for the Wii, Sakaguchi talked about how he got in not a bit of a debate with the character designer for that game, who I actually think is really good. He really, really didn't like the idea that last story was going to have customizable clothing, and you could color and dye the clothes to different options, or however you wish. And Sakaguchi had to convince him that it was a good thing for players versus, everyone just wearing the same clothes with the same colors the whole time. So it's not an easy thing to do in Japan. It's not an easy thing to get across. So, I mean, yeah, sorry about that. So, that being said, that's my only real kind of negative gripe. And now I'm still hopeful that there's at least some changes or varieties, even if it's only like 1 or 2 clothing options. That would be good enough for me, honestly. If just one outfit looks decent or cool on Rex, I'd be happy. As it stands, I'll probably just end up playing the game as Zeke the whole time, because I think Zeke's design is fine, and I have no problem running around as him the whole time. I mean, he's got sort of like a geeky, like, sort of slutty librarian chick running around with him, but that's kind of how they all look. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like, I enjoy looking at pretty characters, running around, but Pyra just looks like a hooker. There's no 2 ways of getting around it. She looks like, Rex picked her off of the red light district on a, shady night. So, whatever. I'm over it. As far as the rest of the story goes, I mean, I don't care about Takahashi's stories. I'm interested to see where he goes, in the sense that he wanted to sort of change what he does, because he said himself, his words not mine, I seem to always do the same thing, don't I? Yes, you fucking do. I'm glad he's aware of the fact that he seems to write the same goddamn story every fucking time. I'm not actually expecting it to be different here. He says it is, but I don't expect it to be different. I just expect it to maybe start different, because he said, I'm not going to do an intro where the character's main village blows up at the beginning, which he's done in every fucking Xeno game before this one. So, okay, sure, maybe that'll start him. But he said the story will start to go into the darker tones he's known for when you get further in, I'm sure. Otherwise, I really don't care. I'm sure it's point of contention for some people, but whatever. As far as the ability to download a Japanese audio, that's cool. I'm probably not going to do it, because unless it's really, really, really bad, which it's questionable from what I've heard of the English VO. It's going back to the, it's being dubbed in Britain, which is cool, but from what we've heard, it sounds a bit questionable on the voice acting side. If it's bad, maybe I'll download it, maybe I'll not. Then the only other kind of like small couple issues that sort of nag at me is one, that the game is up for pre-download, like you can pre-download it right now, and basically all this means is that the game's done. You're literally going to download all 13 gigs of the game onto your Switch now, and then you will wait till December 1st to unlock a kilobyte of data to unlock the ability to actually play the game. Also probably means that any day now the press junkets are going to get this game in their hands, because it's done, and they're just going to let them start playing for review. I have no doubt that'll happen. There will be, basically what I'm saying is, reviews will be ready to go on the day this game comes out, most likely, because it's fucking done. I will not be getting any sort of early copy or look at it. Why? Because it's me. I'm biggest fucking harshest critic who actually loves, well, I love the people who work for Nintendo and the games they make, but I do not love the company because it's just a soulless corporation, and I am very, very critical of it, and I will continue to be very, very critical of it. The other thing that's kind of not really a bummer, but just, I guess, is the DLC Season Pass. It's going to have a Season Pass, fine, whatever. It starts out with simple shit like items to help you along the way at the beginning, and then like some rare blades later on, and then eventually there's going to be potentially a new story and mission area, but that's not going to be till like almost a year later. Again, Nintendo's being very, very fucking stupid about it and making the DLC Season Pass the only way to get any DLC. There is no buying the DLC individually. You have to buy the entire Season Pass, just like Zelda. No other way about it, and that's just fucking stupid. There's no defense on it. Like, it serves no fucking purpose. It also means I will not purchase the DLC, and I figure a lot of other people probably won't get that DLC Season Pass until they know if the final amount of DLC is going to be worth the price, which I think is $30 from what I can tell. So that's also sort of it's not really the game's fault, it's just Nintendo being Nintendo. So I'm not buying the DLC until I know every single bit of that DLC is worth it, the same way I did not buy the DLC for Zelda, and I still won't, because Nintendo still hasn't said fucking shit about the Champions Ballad. Like, all we know is the title. Like, we still have no info on release or anything for that, so that's a little fucking strange and weird. So, yeah. But other than that, I'm still very much looking forward to the game. The character designs are ass. And anyone who wants to bring that up again, you are not bringing up anything new. You are simply beating a horse that has been dead, buried, rotted, maggot-infested, dried to its bones, and then the bones have been chiseled to dust by the sands of time. There is no more point in bringing up how the character design's weird, creepy, looks bad, or are slutty. Yes, okay? They are. But I'm not going to let that stop me from playing what could potentially be one of the best games to come out this year. And I hope it doesn't stop you from it, because if you enjoyed the last Xenoblade games, or even if you're new to the series, I highly suggest checking it out, as long as you're into the style of gameplay presented, one that encourages massive exploration across giant worlds. I say go for it, dive in. And since the game lets you play as other characters in your party as the main person running around, change to them. It's what I'm gonna do. Shit, it's just smart, reasonable. So yeah, that's all I gotta say right now about Xenoblade 2. If anything big comes up, I'll let you guys know. But in the meantime, just, I hope you guys can look past its awful character designs, and they are awful, and enjoy this awesome looking game when it comes out. Hoping it's good. I'm not saying it will be, but it looks good, and I have faith, because Monolith Soft has proven themselves to be both a capable developer and a competent developer, one who's able to get their games out in a timely manner, even though they're big, giant HD RPGs. Now, if only one other big RPG company in Japan could fucking get their heads on straight for that, man, what a wonderful world that would be.